NXT TakeOver Chicago. This is the second time they've done a takeover in Chicago. It's in the Allstate Arena. The best crowd usually the WWE has each year for an arena, and this is going to be a great show. So they started the show off with the tag team title match. I thought that they'd start off with Ricochet and Velveteen Dream, but they went with this. It was Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defending the tag titles. They're being alongside Adam Cole. They were against Oney Lorcan, which is a horrible name. Oney Lorcan's great, but I mean, that's a horrible fucking name. He's a great wrestler, but damn. And Danny Burch. So this match was great. One of the sickest bumps I've seen in a while was Lorcan. He takes like this, he gets tossed off the top rope, and like when he falls like in the senton position, but he lands on the apron. It looked nasty. There were so many false finishes here. The crowd was just going nuts. They were super into this. This was just so hot, this match. It was a great match. Adam Cole got ejected, a fan chant and bullshit. The one thing that the only real negative I can say was the faces were heavily booed and the heels were heavily cheered, but this is the Undisputed Era in Chicago. That's what you have to expect. But man, this match was great. They hated, I mean, they liked Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan a lot, but you know, the Undisputed Era was what it was about in Chicago. They were going nuts for them. They were getting huge pops. They were massively over. Again, you had a lot of false finishes. You had some moments that looked like they had a double submission spot, which you looked like that you were going to have new tag champs. But then I love the counter with, I think it was O'Reilly getting the up kicks, or maybe it was Strong. That was just awesome. There was they hit their finishers, and then they kicked out multiple times. There was multiple false finishers. They kicked out of a lot of finishers. Matches was great. The NXT tag division is always great. I mean, if Burch and Lorcan are going to be a team, this is going to be awesome, because this is the NXT tag division. It's on a different level every single time. They always have great matches, and if it wasn't for Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, this would have been the match of the night, and they had this was a great match. But Undisputed Era gets the victory. They get the win. At the end of the match, they had Burch and Lorcan get a standing ovation from the crowd, even though they got booed. They kind of created a Gargano and Ciampa moment. Remember, I think when Gargano and Ciampa lost the Revival, they came so close, and now it's kind of quite ironic that they're doing it on this show. But they tried to have that kind of moment with Lorcan and Burch. So up next, they went to Ricochet and the Velveteen Dream, and they didn't have a match I was expecting, but boy, they blew everything I was expecting out of the water. I was expecting this to start the show. They have like a 15-minute match, high pace, Ricochet being Ricochet, 100 high spots, and he gets the win. But man, they had this long, great match, and it went on for a while. The one thing that I think kind of hurt this match, I will say one negative, the commentary wasn't as good. I think if Mauro Ranallo was there, you would hear Mamma Mia a whole bunch of times, but he'd be great. He'd be selling this. I don't like the guy they have replacing him. I think he's holding the show down. He just seems like a WWE commentator. Morrow's great. Percy Watson's okay, and Nigel McGuinness is great. He's doing a great job, and he was cringing a lot throughout it. But these guys, they had a great match. Ricochet, he only hit a few dives. The ending of the match, I mean, they got really exciting. You had a lot of false finishes. You had the Velveteen Dream do his move, look like from the other side of the ring where he misses a kind of a coast to coast. You had a whole bunch of his. You had Ricochet doing Velveteen Dreams Midnight, Velveteen Dreams finisher, the purple elbow drop. You had the Death Valley drive from the top rope, and you had one spot look nasty. I mean, two really nasty looking things I've seen on this show so far was the senton, or the toss onto the apron from that Lorcan had, and this one, like this suplex from the apron that Ricochet had delivered to him by the Velveteen Dream. That looked absolutely nasty. So two nasty looking spots. Match was great. This was very long, but the crowd got into it. They had Velveteen Dream dominate for a while, but man, these guys really went out there and had a great match. They had so much time, and it's crazy how much time these guys have. It's like if WWE would have like 5 matches on the show and everyone gets a lot of time, the shows would be way better. But this was a great match. And NXT is just so awesome. I'm thinking to myself, you had these two matches. I know for a fact nothing on Money in the Bank is going to come close to these two fucking matches we've had so far. An amazing tag match, an amazing wrestling match of Ricochet and Velveteen Dream, with Ricochet winning at the end. They had a great match, but crowd was more into the Velveteen Dream though. Then they had NXT Women's title, Shayna Baszler defending against Nikki Cross, and obviously this was going to be the weakest match of the show. Not a big fan of Baszler. I don't like how they keep hyping her up like she's this badass. She just gets everything because who she's friends with. And I know it's a weak women's division in NXT now. There's not a lot of good workers, so I mean, like, they lost all their talent, but this was not very good from women's standards. This was a good wrestling match. I mean, this is better than anything you'll see on the main roster when it comes to the women, but this was it was a decent match. It's just like the standard was set so high. It was fine. The ending looked cool with Baszler choking her up. I think they're pushing Baszler too. I'm not a big fan of hers, but this was a good match. But I mean, if this is the kind of match that's the worst match on the show, this is a special show. So this was a decent match, but definitely probably by far the weakest match. Then we went to the NXT Championship. You had Aleister Black defending against Lars Sullivan. Black always has an awesome entrance, and they had a really good match. They had a lot of fun having this match. I think it was fun to watch. He had the spine or the power slam on the apron, which looked fucking nasty. That looked brutal, actually. You had I like that how at the beginning you had had Black take down Lorcan like David versus Goliath kind of thing. They had one of the worst botches in WWE history. He hit a black mask to not even touch Oney Lorcan, and Lorcan sold it. And that was on Lorcan? That was on Sullivan, Lars Sullivan. That's on you, man. You don't sell it. Just keep going and go back to it later. That's what Lars Sullivan should have done. He did not sell that black mask. And I think Black was mad after the match. He looked a little pissed off at Sullivan. But they had such a good match. It was a really good title match. Black got the win with the black mask. Hit him in the gut first, and he hit him in the head, gets the 3 count. It was a really good title match, very good. Crowd was really into it. They like Aleister Black a lot. He's a great champion, but my only thing is that botch was fucking embarrassing. That was Sullivan, man. Jeez, that was an embarrassing botch. That was fucking trash. And the announcers having to cover for it, that was bad. But the match was still really good. Black keeps the belt. Sullivan wasn't going to win, but I think he's a little bit too green for the main roster. What's next for Aleister Black's interesting, because I think Gargano and Ciampa are going to go in for one more show. So I think we'll see who he faces next. Maybe Ricochet. Could be maybe EC3, who was in the crowd. Also in the crowd was Keith Lee, so he's going to be debuting. I'm seeing this NXT crowd. So main event up next, Gargano Ciampa street fight. So they introduced Gargano first. That was interesting. They had Candice already give him a crutch to start the match. I'm thinking to myself, all right, Candice is going to get involved. Candice, my whole idea was for Ciampa to like almost kill Candice, even though I love Candice. But I think people might actually want to shoot Tommaso Ciampa if he did that. But I don't think they're going to let that happen. But Gargano came out first, and Ciampa came out. He got fuck you Ciampa chance. But you did have some let's go Ciampa chance, more Johnny wrestling. Like New Orleans was 120% Ciampa, or Gargano, 100% Gargano. This was like 95% Gargano, so you had some stuff for Ciampa. But I don't know if I can say they topped the New Orleans match, but I mean, it was probably just as good. This was fucking amazing. It was fucking incredible. It was a war. They used a lot of weapons here, which was different from the first match. The first match was like this launch run where they just beat the hell out of each other. It's like a wrestling match with no rules. This was just a fight, just a plain street fight. They sold it well, like I hope they would. They had Gargano wearing jeans with the t-shirt, Ciampa wearing like camouflage pants with the shirt. And they went out there and had a war. Gargano got the early hand. He had a crossbody, but then Ciampa dominated. They had Ciampa, they had a lot of spots. One of the nastier spots was Ciampa uses a chair and on Gargano's neck into the steps. He had Ciampa hitting his finisher from the apron onto Gargano onto the steps, which looked absolutely nasty. And you can hear Nigel McGuinness cringing because his career ended because he did stupid shit like that. These guys are fucking killing each other. He had the trash can used multiple times. He had Gargano hitting 1,000,000 super kicks. You had one of the nastier parts was when Ciampa caught Gargano when Gargano was doing like a dive off the top rope. He caught him right in the fucking head with the trash can lid. God, that looked fucking terrible. I mean, they have to stop doing stuff like that. This was a brutal match. They're beating the hell out of each other. They didn't have too much blood. I think the refs had his glove on to stop the blood, but it was a long war. And I loved how the ending happened. Gargano or Ciampa takes Gargano down to the stage to do what he did to Gargano last year. Throws him into the Titantron, hits the knee. Looks like he's going to do the big the drop from there was no announce table this time. They moved the announce table to the front, but they set up like these two like metal cases, and he was about to do it, but then Gargano counters, hits his own, hits Ciampa much like that drop, that backwards drop from the top of it through 2 tables, which looked so fucking nasty. It was unreal. It looked like Ciampa died, and Ciampa was selling it amazing. Before that, of course, they had that thing where Ciampa spitting on Gargano's wedding ring, which was disgusting, and then like Ciampa being carried off on a stretcher, and then Johnny loses his fucking mind. He goes crazy, takes him back into the ring. Ciampa is still handcuffed because Gargano starts to handcuff him after that, and he hits him like a billion super kicks, has a submission. And the thing is, Ciampa tapped out twice, so they definitely protected Gargano, but Ciampa taps out twice, but the referee's not in the ring, and he still wants to kill Tommaso Ciampa. There's like a whole bunch of security guards stopping him, and then as he gets back in the ring, Ciampa is able to get his regain his composure. And what he did earlier was he removed the floorboards, like he cut off the ring mats, he cut off the cover, and then the padding, and then there was wooden pallets basically, and he hits a DDT from the rope onto the pallets, gets the 3 count. Just, it was a fluke, and it was just the evil heel when like the crowd is stunned or chanting bullshit. Gargano's out cold, and then Candice comes up with himself, oh, Ciampa's gonna hit Candice and do something evil. She doesn't do that. Came out later, Gargano's knocked out, like he's laying on the wood. It's nasty. Ciampa waves goodbye. What a fucking heel. This was a great setup. This was as good as the first match. I don't know, I think the first match might be a bit better if you were rating them, but man, this was close. This was another amazing show by NXT. I think Hell in a Cell probably is where they're going next. I think in Brooklyn 4, Hell in a Cell has to be, I think. But we're going to get a trilogy. Ciampa had to win here. Gargano's like losing his fucking mind, almost going heelish. But that was great. I think the Hell in a Cell's next, and that was just an amazing, amazing show. And NXT does it again. I mean, NXT is incapable of having a bad show. They just have one amazing show after another. And this show, NXT TakeOver Chicago, especially with that main event, is just another amazing show by NXT.